It is.
Okay.
The hard part is setting them up. Like for me, I set all this up and then realized I needed that 286S thing that's in it. There's two over here. Another one that.
And that was because of the sound.
Yes, because of the sound. And I started realizing, Jesus, everyone can hear the weights. Everyone can hear this.
Right.
So I just googled how to remove back now.
And how's it been received? Like the podcast?
Everything's super. Yeah.
No, but as in like people seeing it and listen to it.
That's what the last one got the best one because it was the first guest that I didn't know.
Right.
So the other two I kind of knew, and I was just kind of getting warm. I was just kind of getting warmed up. And then the other one was more about your man becoming the pilot and just kind of diving into what he would do on a day-to-day basis. And he was saying like he dies, not that he dies, sorry, that pilots, the biggest cause of death is heart attacks because like every single time you land a plane, bump 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 bump, like uncontrollably.
They shoot themselves.
Yeah, like just from landing a plane.
But as in because they don't know what's going to happen.
No, just because when you start being a pilot, it's like driving the car for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you actually, like your heart just keeps pumping in your chest.
That stops surely after driving a plane.
It happens even with people who are 40, 50. Yeah.
So it's just a real subconscious
it's
thing.
Just you can't. Well, some people are better than others, of course, because some people handle pressure better. But it's like
that doesn't fill me with much confidence. Being in the plane.
No.
So what kind of thing they were doing?
Yeah, no. But that's what I was saying. We were talking, and he was saying that like people shine lasers in the airplane and everything. Like he says, like he flew into Turkey, and the runway wasn't prepared or anything. And not that it wasn't prepared. Or he had to come down, and then he couldn't land because of something, and he had to go back up.
Sorry, that's fucking crazy.
And it was just the stories.
Who's you work with?
He's actually not allowed to say so.
All right.
That's part of their job.
All right.
They're actually not allowed to.
No pilot can say that.
No pilot can say that.
Didn't know that.
Any social media, they have to actually put out a statement to say that like any social media or any views of my social media are not of my employers.
That kind of makes sense though, because they obviously people are lying to their lives, and something goes wrong or something says something.
So that's that. But so I've started recording this, and we can chop bits out and stuff like that. So if you like want to stop, go take a break, or you know what I mean, you can do that. There's no rush on. But so I was thinking, like the way that you coach and the way obviously that you train is completely different than to what any personal trainer is doing at the moment. Would you even consider yourself a personal trainer?
Definitely I am. Like, I mean, my qualification originally would have been a personal trainer, so 12 or 13 years I think I've been a personal trainer. And originally it was just I did a 2-year course that I think is now a 6-year course, NCF personal trainer.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to do a degree in Dundalk. It was a health and physical activity, very similar to a sports science degree. It wasn't just all sports related, it was more kind of health related, but there was sports involved as well. So that's my background, So I essentially I would class myself as a trainer, and then I suppose it's just like I said off camera or off podcast, it's just that my intention behind what I'm doing, the likes of fat loss and stuff, and I just have no interest in that. So that's maybe why it seems a bit different in terms of what I'm doing. So maybe our message and our approach in that sense is different. But in the grand scheme of things, time under tension and weights and body weight, it's the same concept and principles really.
But are you dealing on the day-to-day basis with, like you're not dealing with would you get the crossover between the fat loss client and the movement client?
No. Originally, say about 5 years ago, and then for about 2 or 3 years of that, I had that.
Yeah.
So I originally would have had fat loss clients, and then I just started to delve more into movement myself, and I helped other people have little niggles here and there, and I used to get 1 or 2 clients, but more fat loss, and eventually I was trying to push more and more. It got to a stage about a year, it was kind of 50-50. I'd be helping older people, I'd be helping athletes, but I'd be helping fat loss clients as well. But the whole intention was to always push away to eventually just go movement and mobility, and that didn't happen till not that long ago, only about 2.5 years ago. That was
I remember when you were doing the studio up when you took upstairs. Right. Yeah, and I remember the day you were painting. I remember that day.
Originally I had met Rob, my business partner, in the gym, and he just saw me training. He trained the same way. He liked gymnastic rings and movement and all that. We just got talking, and then we had both. I decided to leave that gym and to go online with Rob. So I said it to Sean, the owner, and he was like, "Don't leave, please." And I was like, "No, I'm leaving. I'm sick of this." And he's like, "Oh, see what the crack is," and he just offered me a studio. I think he might have thought at the time that maybe clients would come up and that kind of stuff and all that, but I didn't, FPT members or something. But it was too good of an opportunity to turn down. So as much as I wanted a studio eventually or something, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I hadn't planned to do that. It kind of just happened. So Yeah, that was scary when we were doing that. Yourself,
I remember there was days coming in. I was like, "Is Brian?" Like where there was little chats, like, "Is Brian taking upstairs? What's Brian doing?" and stuff like that. And like I remember thinking one or two of the times I was like, "That is a ballsy move." Like I remember thinking, like, because that's like you'd built up so much, I suppose, clientele in terms of like PT. And like, did you take fat loss clients on at that stage, or did you just go from that point just basically movement?
No, we actually, the majority was movement, I'd say 80-90%, but there was still one or two fat loss clients
at that point,
and we were still doing like measurements and stuff and diets and stuff. So no, in fairness, when we first opened officially, we still had one or two. We definitely weren't promoting them, but I had clients I trained for years. So I was like, I'll stick around and all. And so it wasn't 100%, but it was definitely moving in the right direction.
But it's funny to see it go from like, that one decision where you're like, right, fuck it, let's try it, and then you're like, now all of a sudden 2 years later,
I shot myself. Like, and I didn't think it was gonna be like,
And I'm like, Brian, will you come down and give the guys a workshop, a seminar? And I just think there's so much knowledge inside your head. Like, how did you decide movement? Like, what, like, because when people are, I suppose, not growing up, when they're growing up in the industry, I suppose they look at whether it's bodybuilders, whether it's athletes, and they're kind of going, oh, I want to,
of course.
There was no one else going, I'm going to make people pain free. I'm going to make people be more conscious of movement. I actually think you've completely changed how personal trainers now think about coaching clients.
I suppose for me, the original, like the whole reason I had a shoulder injury for 3 years, and I couldn't actually train upper body properly for 3 years. And I actually got depressed for like 6 months. I literally couldn't sleep on my left hand side. But I love training. I love movement, everything. So I couldn't actually physically do what I wanted to do. And then with clients, I felt like a bit of a not a failure, but I felt a bit of a con artist, because I was teaching them to do fat loss and all, but I couldn't do half the movements they could do because of my shoulder. So I went to every physio and they gave me all diagnosis and trying to help me. I got short-term relief, but never got long-term relief. So that's what started me in movement. I started to research stuff. I remember doing a bodyweight course called Zoo. You ever hear of Zoo?
Yeah.
Really high intensity, batch of crazy stuff. It's mental. Like it's good, but it's really, really high intense. And I wouldn't be recommending for the majority of the population, But it's I got through that weekend pain free. Like I'll never forget it. I think I was one of the first Zoo people. Actually, I was one of the first Zoo. There's 8 of us there to do it. I got through that weekend pain free. It was so high intense. I couldn't believe that I got through it. I never thought I would. I just, for the first time ever in my head, I was like, oh my God, I can actually potentially move pain free one day. I never thought I could. For 3 years, I never thought I'd move pain free. And that just completely altered everything. So once I believed I could move pain free, I was like, right, let's start moving. Let's start doing stuff and start going everywhere, And
just the movements kind of opened up your mind to thinking the body should move differently than...
Well, once I got myself moving pain free then, because I just started trying stuff and doing stuff. I got gymnastic rings and loads of different stuff. I was like, my God, I can move pain free. I never thought I could. And then I just saw people, I was like, well, you don't move great. And my shoulder sore here. I said, well, try this, try that. They started getting results, and I was like, well, this could be actually, I could actually help people here, So I just haven't stopped. I finished my degree like in sports science or health and activity 7-8 years ago. I've learned more in the last 6-7 years than I have because again, you just never stop learning, And even now I have mentors and what I do to learn more. I'm doing about 3 or 4 courses next year, the exact same this year. We just take bits from everything because everything works to some degree. And then you're just trying to amalgamate stuff to do it. So definitely injury. But I'm a bit mental. I can't stop.
Moving.
You know what I mean? I have to keep doing.
Because sometimes I've seen you on the floor, and it's almost like you come up with the exercise in your head, and it's like, but it works.
Yeah. Well, again, so we have this hashtag of explore how you move. So there's ultimately a foundation of movement you need. Then after that, explore how you move. And that's literally what I mean. Because as you mentioned there, of a bodybuilder or a powerlifter, everyone thinks of this one modality of exercise and one way of moving, but it's not. Like, it's just, even people always ask me, is it Pilates you do or yoga you do? It's like, no, it's just movement. Like, you don't have to pigeonhole this movement I'm doing into something, So that's why I love doing what I do. Because for example, the athletes we train need massive amounts of control, because what they do on the pitch is batshit crazy. They're going on mad range of motion, and they're being tackled, going for a point, doing everything. But they don't train that way. They train to get more muscle and to be big and strong, which they need, but they don't train to do all the stuff that I can do that they actually do on the pitch. So it's about feeding and mapping different information to your brain, to your nervous system, to now just be able to do stuff off demand. Because if you think about a sport, put your hand on something hot, you take it away. Your brain does that. You don't do that. That's sport. You react to that ball, you react to that tackle. So if I'm able to just come up on the spot with anything, I'm able to react to that ball better. I'm able to react to that situation that is just completely mental. I have a split second to do it. And that's why you should be able to do that. And your training should make you better be able to do that.
if I was an athlete and I'm struggling with pain, and like I'm going into my local gym, and you know, the coach is telling me I need to get bigger, I need to get stronger, you know, I need to squat, I need to do deadlifts, would you push against that, or would you be like complimentary of saying like that is an important part of
No, definitely complimentary. I mean, I still get my clients to load and use weights and squat and deadlift, so it's not that we're stopping them doing these things. And there's huge benefit, you know what I mean? Again, a deadlift will work your whole posterior chain. You get really strong around your glutes, around your hamstrings, your whole back. Like, it's a huge exercise that has a huge amount of benefits, you know? I suppose with athletes, like it's not just about getting bigger. You have to understand what you're trying to do with the sport, you know? For example, I had a call there this morning off a top level intercounty hurler who's had tendonitis on his knees for the last 2 or 3 years, and they can't get rid of it. And I was asking him what was he doing when they were in season, and he was doing all the sessions that all the lads were doing as well, through pain. Yeah. So he wasn't managing his load, right? Like, you know, so he can do all the exercise that he wants. So sometimes it's not about the exercise. It's actually about, can we just decrease your volume that you're doing so your body can handle the volume you're doing, you know? Yeah. So we're never looking to take away something. So if a client comes into me and can't squat very well, I'll just try and change a variation of a squat so he can get the benefit from the squat, but he's able to physically do that. And now we'll work on around his hips or his feet or his spine to make that squat more accessible. And all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down the line, he can do that squat better, you know? So we're breaking down a movement to make the movement more accessible, but we're also making the movement easier to a level he can do it now. You know, we're never trying to take it in a way that we know is going to benefit the client. We're just making sure they're doing something their body can actually physically do.
I know what you mean. So you wouldn't necessarily, if your body can't go, say, we'll use the squat as an example. If my mobility doesn't allow me to squat below, you know, parallel with my knee, I shouldn't do that, but I should still squat parallel until I work on my other bits. To allow me.
Even with that, that's a really arbitrary thing as well. Why do you have to squat past parallel?
It's just
it's just a range of motion, you know? Like, for example, the only person who has to squat a certain way or do something a certain way would be maybe a power lifter. Because they're literally, their technique has to be this certain way or else they will fail that lift. You can do a deadlift or squat in any shape or form you want. A split squat is a variation of a squat. It's a squat, like it literally says split squat. A back squat is a variation of a squat. But everyone seems to want to do this one exercise and doesn't realize that, well, why? You know? But also, again, you don't need to coach his range of motion, but an athlete probably does, because he will get down this range of motion needs required here. But it's not even about having that range of motion. It's just about training in a range of motion you have strength. Because if you go to a range of motion you don't have strength, your chance of tightness or compensation is higher. Now, you might not get injured, but your potential for injury is definitely higher. But you're going to struggle to progress on that exercise because you're just not strong in that range of motion. If we can increase the range of motion, all of a sudden that exercise gets easier.
It really, like, when you break it down like that, you make it sound so simple. It is.
It's genuinely, like, people overcomplicate all this stuff. And that's what we were trying to do over the last 2.5 years, is to simplify it for the general population to understand it is so simple. It's not easy. It's very simple, though. You know, you train it in a range of motion you have control of. If you don't, you can push into a range of motion slightly, progressively, smartly. You know, so did you ever hear of a Jefferson Curl? You know the Jefferson Curl? No. It's essentially bending over, loading your spine with weight. And people always look at it and go, oh my God, that's mental. You're going to hurt your back. I can do it with like 40, 50 kg.
Oh, yes. I've seen you do it on Instagram. Where you just lean on a box. You're standing on a plyo box.
Yes, exactly. And people are like, oh my God, that's mental. But I didn't start doing that straight away. Like, you wouldn't go and double body weight or squat straight away. You progressively overload. And all of a sudden the body adapts, you get stronger, and that becomes accessible. The issue is people try and do something that their body can't handle.
And they get injured.
You know, so you have to just manage your load, and you have to progressively overload smartly.
And if like, from your experience, if you pick up an injury early on, is it impossible to kind of come back from that? Like, can you, like, would you, like, I'll use Nicole as an example. Nicole has a lower back. We don't know what it is.
Okay.
But whenever the odd time she'll bend over, she got it through squatting. She thinks one of her hips is underlined, maybe. But whenever she goes to lean over, the odd time she'll lean over, she'll pick something up and she'll just get like and then it'll be 3 or 4 days. Can't really walk. But like, in terms of like the way that we have conversations, it's like, okay, well, back off on the squat, let the body repair and grow. But in the back of the head, it's like, yeah, but I still want to do my squats. I still want to do my split squats. Do you know what I mean? So is it nearly, would you say, like, is it better to almost like train within the range of motion that you have obviously currently, or if you have that squat and you have I suppose, like, not that she wants to be a powerlifter, but you have that attitude where, I do want to be stronger. I do want to be able to squat. Is that, like, is it possible to get back there? Or is there a point where you're kind of going, okay, after listening to my body, I can't squat anymore. I can't.
So it'd be two things. It depends on how long the injury was around for. So how long has she had the injury for?
About a year, 2 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's chronic, right? So chronic pain is classed as over 12 weeks. So we say 3 months. If it's chronic, more than likely it's not a structural issue because the tissues would have healed. But you can see the pain is very real. So now you have to go to a whole lot of different things. Once you go into a range of motion she may not have control of, she knows she has past experiences when she goes to this squat that she's had pain. She now is maybe not training like she wants to train, and that's affecting her lifestyle, the things she loves to do, and maybe that makes her affects her mental health. And now she thinks she's actually physically fragile and broken, and she'll never be able to move pain-free. Again, will affect her emotionally and mentally. So you can see them 4 things. All of a sudden, it's not just about how she moves. All them things will literally affect that back. So what we would do with movement is, well, first we'd assess her. So if we break down the squat, we'd look at around her hip. In order to go to a squat position, a back squat, we'll say, it requires your hip to flex, abduct, and some level of external rotation. The first thing we'll always look at is rotation, because the hip is the ball and socket joint. If we can improve that external internal rotation, we can potentially make that movement become easier for her. We also want to make sure she's got good strength and control through her spine. So again, she has good control through that squat. So if she has more strength in her hip, she's more strength in her spine. It gives her the strength to physically get into that position, but actually it gives her the confidence to go and do that movement. And then it also shows her brain, her body, her nervous system, there's no need for you to freak out here, spasm my back and tighten it up, because I have strength, I have control. And it's not going to happen overnight. For example, a foam roller or any kind of dry needling or clicking or cracking, that will work to a certain degree, but it will be very short term. It's like driving a car. If she keeps driving this car, she gets the confidence, she essentially gets more strength. The brain understands, and now she gets more movement, she gets more. And all of a sudden, she's been maybe decreasing the squat to something else, maybe change to an easier variation. But eventually, once we know she's moving better, she's feeling stronger, she has that confidence, we now start to push her more towards that squat.
So you're saying there is, if it's like, what's after chronic? Is it stuff you're born with, basically?
Well, no, sorry. If it was like, say you had an injury and it was acute, so maybe like you strained a hamstring or you did pull something or something, so maybe you need to rest that for the first 2 or 3 weeks. Even rest, sorry, that's probably not true actually. The majority of my clients, I would never ever say rest. So for example, with Nicole, she came in and she was into me 2 days after she had hurt her back. I was like, right, let's move her spine. Maybe all she has is this kind of movement, tiny movement. But what she's doing there, she's showing her brain, look, I need control of this. Once the brain feels safe, give or take, we'll give about 10 or 15 degrees more range of motion. More range of motion over the next few weeks. The issue you have, the body gets good at what you do. Most people, when they have an injury, they don't move for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And the brain goes, don't move here. Fear comes in, all of a sudden you're avoiding what you're trying to do. You then go back towards that squat, it happens again. It's just a perpetual cycle.
Rinse and repeat.
But then once you get over 3 months, it's like, oh, this is now the brain so used to this message. This always happens when you go towards here. So just you feel fragile, you feel broken. Oh my God, mental health. So it's so many. Like people come into us with 10 years chronic pain, and then like not always we get them moving pain free, but a lot of people get moving pain free, and they literally leave, say after 2, 3, 4 sessions, literally like a different person. They're happier, they look different because they were like, it just affects your whole life. It does. Like I was depressed for 6 months because I had chronic pain. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And it's not chronic pain 95% of the time. It's not a structural issue because we know the tissues would have healed and all, It's just that so much going on, But movement gives you that confidence and gives you that strength. And again, that's what we try and do with clients. We're giving the movement as a catalyst to change their life,
I seen that's it's actually, you'll actually be interested to hear that, because I just
she's here. We should go to something.
She's because that's actually, it makes a lot of sense, because you get a lot of people who come into the gym, and I always use this example, and it's like, it's the 40 to 60 year old woman who comes in and says, my knees are sore, I don't want to do anything that revolves around legs or my knees. And I try to explain to them, well, what's the one thing you need to do every day? Get in and out of a chair. Get in and out of a chair. What range of motion is that? That is essentially a squat. So when you go to the supermarket and you put your bags down on the ground and you pick them up, that range of motion is a deadlift.
100%,
And when you walk from the shop to the house, that's a farmer's walk. All strength-based exercises, 100%. Things they do every single day. And it kind of gets them thinking, going, oh, because a lot of the time they come in, they said, oh, well, my physio told me not to squat. And I say, okay, well, like, is there, like, for example, if you have a box and the box is 26 inches off the ground, can you sit on that? Can you stand back up? That is a variation of the squat. Box squat.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it's 24 inches, 22 inches, 20 inches. Now you might, that's the way I would explain it to them, because it's a little bit, I suppose, but now the fact that I'm after asking you, like, that is, it reinsures what I'm actually saying.
Of course.
Because
education though. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a physio, if you go to a surgeon, if you get an MRI and you're told your back is degenerative at 20 years of age, you literally think something's wrong with me, I'm broken, I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 20, I feel like I'm 80. Words matter, and what you're told from a professional who's educated will completely alter what you think. And in turn how you move.
Mm-hmm.
So that's ultimately what we do with our clients, is educate them for any age.
Mm-hmm.
So we so many people come into me going, it's only because I'm old, I've always been stiff, my dad, well, genetically my dad was the same, I could never do what you do in terms of me. I'm like, well, have you done what I've done for the last 3 years? No, of course you couldn't do what I do. Do you know what I mean? I've just done it for 3 years. So if you did what I did for 3 years, you would move exactly like I move. I'm not naturally mobile. I train this way, you know? So it's a growth mindset. If you think you're fixed this way and you are this way forever, well, you will be that way forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to understand, you can't do this thing now. It's like a child. My child as well, she's only 5 weeks old, but eventually she's going to get up. She's going to keep falling over. She'll learn, she'll adapt, and she'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to just stop going, it's not for me, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's literally how you have to look at life, and especially movement. Like, it's like driving a car. If you've never driven this car,
mm-hmm.
you can't move your spine. That's fine. Keep driving it. Do you understand how to drive it? Yeah, okay. Keep doing it.
And eventually it will get easier. And I think that's what puts a lot of people into bad habits, is not into bad habits, but where if they get given the wrong information, oh, you can't do this forever.
Yeah.
Because it's safer to say that, well, from a professional point of view, whoever's giving the information, whether it's a doctor or whatever, it's very easy for them to say, yeah, you can never do that again. And for them to 6 years go by, and now they're all of a sudden they're going, shit, I really need to now look after my health. That was almost like a scapegoat for me to just not go and look after my health.
That's kind of lazy though as well. You know, I mean, like if I haven't got the answer to somebody, I'll say I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if you can get moving back playing sport or whatever. That's fine. I'm never going to tell someone no, 100% you can't, unless I know for a fact their bones sticking out and it can't go back in. You know, I don't think I've ever said, I know for 100% I know for a fact you can't do this thing. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, I had a girl in a few weeks ago who heard a pop when she deadlifted, and she was in agony. So she had it, I think, for about 6 weeks. Went to get an MRI, and the MRI revealed nothing. There was no structural damage. Her pain was real. She left the session feeling better, moving better, and all we did was one little exercise, but mainly I just told her, don't be afraid to move. You're absolutely fine. And you could just see she was like, whoa, this person who's educated is telling me I'm allowed to move this area. They're telling me if I don't move, that would be worse than moving. And all of a sudden she's like, whoa, she feels better. Because her brain's like, don't worry, you can let go now.
It's working with her as opposed to against her.
Exactly. It's huge. It's education. And it's again, it's very, very simple and easy, but also it goes the opposite way. It's very simple and easy to make someone believe something else, and that has a huge impact on what happens. You know?
It's like, did you ever hear the You Are the Placebo, or see that book?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the exact same principle. It's like, if you're told and you genuinely believe that thing is true, eventually you will manifest that in, and it will become true. But if you decide to, you know, okay, I appreciate your advice, doctor, or I appreciate your advice, physio, but I'm gonna just go seek just a third source, just to see. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's enough. That's what I because I was only on a phone call there about, we were trying to do something with the gym, and we bumped into an issue, and I said to your man, like, it's like, there's no hope of that happening. I was like, there's no hope. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how can you say that?
You know? Sure, 100% sure there's no hope.
He was like, there's no hope of that happening. You may as well kiss that goodbye.
Yeah.
And I just said, like, with all due respect, like, that's not a good way to, you know, think about anything. Do you know what I mean? Surely there's something. I'm not saying that there's something that we can do right now, but something
in the future maybe.
But that's the way people think, isn't it? It's just that's
also, I think, a really human trait as well. People always want the black or white answer. They don't realize that it's always black and white. Like, you know, there's night and day. There's black and white. There's happy to sad. There's always two. You can't have one. You can have one that may be your answer right now, but potentially next year it's a different answer. So that's there's always a kind of a gray area that you have to accept. But the best thing about being a gray area is that you have the power now to choose which way you go, you know? And you don't have to accept this thing that you've been told. Now, it might be right, it might be wrong. It makes no difference, because, again, it's your attitude of what you've been told and what you can do, and whether you can do nothing about it. It's not even about doing the thing. It's about having that idea of being able to do something and being proactive, because that's what it changes, you know? And that's something I always tell clients. It's like, I can't fix you. First of all, you're not broken, but, like, it's your body. You have to take that responsibility. Like, you were telling me about how I was very blunt with clients when we were working together and stuff. And I am. Like, it's just so simple. I can't do anything for you. Nothing. I can educate you. I can motivate you as best I can, whatever. But if you're not going to do this, that's fine. Get out of here. I couldn't be arsed. You know what I mean? It's fine.
I always say to the, because I would do for more of just a personal training background, like a fat loss, I always say, you only see me twice a week. like literally, like all the work that you're doing. Okay, you're coming here, you're working a sweat, you're getting information, you're learning, yeah. But the work you're doing is outside of here.
Exactly.
You're seeing me 2 hours a week. There's the food you're putting in your mouth, the decisions you're making, the habits you're putting in place, the bad decisions you're making. That's where the work is, and that's where there's no one's rewarding you for putting a salad on your plate instead of putting a burger.
But that's where it comes down to you as well, is that you're educating them. So at least they're leaving here knowing, right, I know what I have to do, I know why it's important, I know what's going to benefit me in the future. Like you're saying with that older client, you're making it relatable to her, so she knows to understand the concepts of okay, brilliant, I'm doing this movement because I have to shop every single day. And you're trying to, that every client is different, they have different goals, so you're relating the goals for that client. I'm not making them do this movement because I like this movement. I'm like, what do you want to do with your body? Okay, well, maybe you should think of this because that will make that easier. Okay, Dad, that makes sense. They're more likely to follow.
You're just relating it back to what their thing is. And like, that's what I was saying, we have a little thing here where if someone's performing an exercise wrong, I trialed it as well. Like if it's a young guy, I'll go up and I'll say, look, you're probably doing, you want me to show you how to do that better. You'll actually grow your arms bigger, or your chest bigger, because you're giving them the answer. You're making them see the sense in that if you do that exercise correctly, right, your quads, your chest will get bigger. But if you go up and you tell a young guy who's 16, 17,
embarrass him or something like
if you do that, you're going to get injured. He'll just give you the middle finger and go, I'm going to do whatever way I want.
But that's brilliant, because again, it makes sense, because now he's going to listen to you. He will now implement what you do, and all of a sudden now you've helped this person get a better result, and that can change, well, first of all, his life. That can get you more business. That can help him tell somebody else about. Like, it makes sense why you would give more value to all of your clients in every aspect of your life. Like, it just makes sense. If you care in any shape or form about what you do, you should always be giving as much as you possibly can to your clients.
And sometimes the honesty. Have you ever had conversations where they don't want to hear it?
Of course,
and they're like,
no. I'm not saying for my benefit. I'm being honest here. Like, I'm saying genuinely for your own benefit.
And sometimes they get frustrated and they don't see the sense in it, and they come back 48 hours later and they go, do you know what? You were right. And I was like, I'm not saying I was right. I was just saying, like, have you ever thought of it from this way? Do you know the kind of way? And you're never really saying, oh yeah, I told you so. Or,
that's not the aim. You're not trying to say, I told you so. You actually want to help this person. So you're saying,
and it just takes them a while to understand. And it's like you go home. I don't know. I always have this new thing where I'll allow information to kind of come in for 24 hours before I make a decision. Okay. So if something goes wrong, or I get a bad text, or rather than be very reactive to it, I'll allow 24 hours to pass, and then I'll try to be proactive against it.
I should take that advice. That sounds good. That sounds very good.
Before, I was so quick, I could just go boom. Do you know what I mean? Like, react to something like a bad phone call, and then my whole day would just be turned upside down. Do you know what I mean? So if something happens there and then on the day, if it's 9 out of 10, like, I deal with it there and then. But if it's like a 6 or 7, I just park it. Don't do it. Brilliant. Come back to it tomorrow, and then it's a much better way of thinking about it. Because sometimes the biggest problems exist inside our own head. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes they just go away themselves.
Well, that's what the thing is. I'd have rituals like on certain things every morning, every evening that I do, and so I don't do what you do, and I probably should do and take 24 hours. But at least I'm in a better headspace every morning, every evening from these rituals. When life gets chaotic or stressful things happen, I'm in a much better mental frame, I suppose, to actually react or respond to whatever the situation is, And that's like you said there, it's like you people just have this one way of reacting and don't actually realize it's actually a process. And it's like anything, it's like muscle. It's like you can work on that, you can build on that, you can get better at reacting to things or doing things, and having strategies and rituals in place make the inevitable stresses in life easier to handle.
And is there anything, like, you're still training I remember when you were in FBT, like, your training was just like some of the things you used to do on the rings was physically impossible. Are you still doing all of that?
I still train that way. So I still working on my one arm chin up at the minute. But I still train that way.
On the rings?
On the rings, yeah.
Right, okay.
So I haven't got there yet now. I can do an eccentric, but I'm hoping by the end of this year. So you should call me out on that, actually. Have I got it done by the 31st of December?
Okay.
But I still train that way. Ultimately my training is to move better. It's a strength training program, though. I build muscle, I get strong. I just train a range of motion that most people don't train, but it's ultimately it's a gym program,
But it's stuff that people can't do. Beyond even I don't know if I can't even not that I can't do. It's probably because of my weight now. I'm probably the heaviest I've been probably in the last 12 months. This gym hasn't been good, but even a dip on the ring, I'll probably get 5 or 6. But
again, the rings are really good because they're so the instability of the rings is brilliant because they're obviously hanging out, and when you get on them, they move like crazy.
Yeah.
And the best thing with that is that if you can get strong on that, you then go into a bar that's just fixed. It seems so easy, you know. So the nervous system is having to work harder. Your muscles are having to activate and work harder. You know, your synergist muscles are having to activate and work harder. But ultimately, I what we say to clients and to our athletes, I want this to function well, and now I can handle a load of heavy load. Whereas most people always think about the exercise of the deadlift or the squat. They never actually think about their body, you know. And what an athlete needs, what a 50-year-old needs, what most people need is control of their body. Because all of a sudden they can do whatever the hell they want to do so much easier. So that's kind of the aim of what we do. And the reason that we like the rings is because you have to work on your mobility. You can't bullshit the rings. You have to be strong. Yeah. And if you get very good at them, you can lift heavy weights. Yeah, I can deadlift heavy. I know I do deadlift, but I can maybe bench heavy. I don't bench at all. I can bench probably my body weight, if not like 1.5 times my body weight. I ever do it, you know, but all my training makes other things.
And if you focused around getting a stronger bench, you'd be in a much better starting position than someone like who just again,
if I was to be a powerlifter, I would clearly work on my bench. Exactly. You know, so don't get me wrong. If you have a specific goal, you should work on that. Yeah. But like, I don't have that goal. I don't want to be bigger on bench. I want to move well and build muscle and be strong. And I find this more optimal because this gives me more movement options. Like I said, I just explore how I move. I just do mad movements.
But it's kind of like the way people talk about because I've recently just started taking like jiu-jitsu classes as well.
Yeah, where people, everyone's doing it.
But where people talk about jiu-jitsua is, and it's almost just like an art form of just moving the body. Like, I'd say you'd be unbelievable.
But everyone's always saying to me I should do jiu-jitsu. The only reason I don't do it, I want to get injured. Like, I don't play 5-side football with the lads anymore. You know, I'm just too busy. So all my training is structured. Like, I have little niggles here or there the odd time, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm controlling the variables, you know, so I'm progressively overloading smart and all. Whereas jiu-jitsu, some lads can be fucking bigger than me and, you know, get me over or whatever. But jiu-jitsu is amazing because that's literally it. Your brain has to answer a movement question. That's why it's amazing. That's why I love it. Now, I roll with some lads. Yeah, I'm not good in any shape or form, but I can get into certain positions. I've never done jiu-jitsu in my life, but because the way I train, I'm strong in certain range of motion. Now, I can't emphasize though, I train so many top-level MMA and jiu-jitsu lads, and they move like trees. It's actually crazy because again, they all just do powerlifting, deadlifting, you know, all these stuff, which is good. Need to get strong, but they don't get strong in range of motion that they need to be strong in. And once they do, what's the difference of their kimuras, of their holds, of getting out of things? It's unbelievable, like, you know.
For them, I could imagine walking into the ring against another guy. They want to look big, strong. They don't want to like. It's
not the whole point of jiu-jitsu though. Jiu-jitsu is like, I could beat you. It's not about size. It's all about that movement,
how much you can move.
And being smart about it.
But it's insane. I only started taking it up, and it's like a foreign language. Do you know what I mean? Now I haven't gone back within. I think it's 2 months since I haven't gone back. But it was because Jordan and Amy here had done it, and I was like, you know what? Like, now's the time. I was always thinking that they're going and trying it, and I like went and done it. But straight away, you're a personal trainer, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. He was like, you just squat, bench, that. Like, no, I haven't really been training, but I'm just stiff. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, he was like, you're stiff. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you go into a movement, like you're not relaxed. You're just, everything is just like,
because again, you're going to a range of motion. Your brain's not used to it. And what it does, it tenses up. It's just not used to going there. And that's the difference of me being out there. I'm strong out there, so I'm loose out there. And that's what you need for jits. I'd love to do it one day. I don't know if I ever will because I don't want to get injured.
We're trying to find the time for it.
We have a lot of plans. So we'll see.
But so you were saying you have your you've launched your new. Is it a new program you're launching?
We actually haven't launched it yet. We're launching it in December. So we're currently getting it ready. Like, so we are launching a new membership online platform in December. Actually, essentially the way we train. So we're going to be building a 3-month gym program. It'll be a cookie cutter program with an end goal with different levels, obviously, with different kind of progressions and stuff. The program's important to get you moving better at the end of 3 months. But actually then we're building a membership portal with thousands of hours of content, essentially, you know, to go through why we do what we do, to educate the people who are doing the program on the best way to move better, about recovery, about everything, you know. So if you follow me on Instagram, everything, all the value we give on Instagram, there's going to be that.
I seen the most recent one you were talking about foam rolling. And you were saying that, like, if you enjoy foam rolling, keep it going, but that there's no actual. It's like I wouldn't actually known that, and I take a lot of your kind of like stuff on board, and I'm kind of going, geez, that's. And again, I look at everything from an objective point of view. I look at why people conceive why foam rolling might be good. Yeah. Because I don't know, I probably shouldn't do this, but my back cracks and my neck cracks. I don't know if you can hear this, but
I can actually.
Yeah. Like, but I
feel a relief from it.
I feel a relief from it, and when I get on the foam roller,
You get the same thing.
I get the same thing in my back, and it kind of just like loosens up my body a little bit, and allows me to...
That's why I would never tell someone not to foam roll. The only issue is you keep having to crack your neck and crack your back. I don't. So that's what I would look at. I'd be like, why does your brain feel the need to tighten up these areas, or are you having to crack your back to get that relief? You're doing no harm. What that cracking is, we don't know for definite, and we know you're doing no issue. Keep doing that all you want. But I would say, actually, let's look at what you're doing, and let's get rid of your need to crack. Foam rolling will never do that. You'll get relief. But like I was saying, it's like scratching an itch and not understanding, well, why is that itchy in the first place? So if you keep having to scratch this, well, that's fine if it goes away. If you keep doing this every single day, it's like, well, actually, it could be an issue here. Why don't we deal with that issue so you don't have to scratch?
Exactly.
So the foam roller is scratching an itch. That works, but it doesn't get the root cause.
It's funny because I don't know if you noticed, I do a lot more, and you probably do a lot more desk work now yourself as opposed to on the floor stuff. And sitting in chairs for like 4 or 5 hours.
You can feel it,
I'd be like to Lee and Jamie here, stand on my back, will you? Like crack, and like almost like they're trying to, you know.
So whereas I'd be the same. Now, if I'm sitting here for 3 hours, my back's like, oh my God, I'm hopping down, I'm moving my spine. Okay. So I'm actively doing that. You're passively being cracked. Okay. What does that mean? I can actively move this, you can't. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. You'll get relief from that. I will get stronger doing this. If I keep doing this for 6 weeks, you keep doing this for 6 weeks, you're going to keep having to do that. Afterwards, all of a sudden I feel looser. This feels easier to sit here for longer because my brain goes, you have strength through here.
Do this.
You know what I mean? So that's the difference. You don't have to stop foam rolling and stretching, but you have to understand what they do. They provide short-term relief. Short-term.
But they don't fix the problem.
No. It's a problem, or they're not fixing anything. But yeah, you're not getting to the root cause of why you are having to foam roll and crack it all the time. Yeah. If you like doing that, if you like cracking your neck, keep doing it. No problem. You know?
No, I don't like cracking my back. Some days I'd be sitting there and I'd be
I should show you. I'm going to show you the spine. I'll genuinely do this every single day. It's the one movement I get every single person in the world ever to do. Move your spine, because the impact it has on your shoulders and your hips is pretty big. But actually, it's the information being fed from your spinal cord up to your brain. Your heart, your organs, your lungs, everything is here. Once this spine functions well, the brain likes that, and the whole body functions better. And ask anybody, how often do you move your spine or train your spine? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, never. Yeah,
it has such an impact on everything and how you move. So train your spine every single day. After this, I'll show you how to do it. And don't ever stop doing it. And if you don't do it, don't come back to me.
But this stuff, like, is this self-taught? Is this like...
Like I said, I've done a load of courses. Yeah. So no, I haven't come up with this. Like,
no,
myself,
but like it works. Like, you've seen the results. Like, yeah. But like I just, like I was saying, like, yeah. No, sorry. Go on. Is it?
No, it's self-taught. Is my microphone on? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just when it moves away, like a little bit from your mouth. It's a condenser microphone. Yeah. So just be a little bit closer to it.
Yeah. It's not self-taught in the sense of like I just come up with this stuff myself. I've done a load of courses, like a load of courses, and like I said, it's not just that. So the issue I have with people doing a course is they just think this one system has the answer for everything. So it's like, for example, doing CrossFit or doing powerlifting and thinking that's the answer for everything. But it's not, though. You can do what you like to do, but this one thing can't answer everything, you know? So it's the same with, say, going to a physio or going to a modality to help you move better. Like, what we do isn't the only answer, because we do loads of other stuff. And there's loads of stuff that we're going to learn in the future years to come. So it's not self-taught. We keep learning off everyone. Like, I've learned off so many people over the last 13 years, but particularly in the last 5 or 6 years. Like I said, I'm booked into doing 3 or 4 courses next year, and we'll just take bits off it. We'll try stuff, because a client comes into me, it's an individual. Maybe this person needs this, maybe this person needs this thing, this approach, that approach. We have the principles underlying what we're doing. The principles they guide our programming, but the way we build a program will have different methods. Do you know what I mean? So the underlying principle of strength training is similar is what we're doing, you know?
But it's just from a different...
different kind of angle. It's different kind of reason.
Because there's no one else in Ireland that does that, is there?
There is now. A lot of people now.
Yeah. Because it's working.
I've been doing this stuff for 5 or 6 years, and the last 2.5 years, Move Up 101's been open. Yeah. And no one was doing this stuff. And now everyone's doing this stuff. Everyone cares about it, apparently. Like, for years, we were in FPT, and people used to just, like, rip the piss out of me saying, go and do your stretches up to your class. And I was like, oh, okay, I will. Like, I don't mind. Because I genuinely believed in what we were doing. But no, there's people doing that. Like, social media is amazing, because we see people in America and Australia, and we can connect with them and stuff. So maybe we were the first kind of people to have that same mindset in Ireland. But, like, we saw the same people that we connected with over the last 2.5 years across the world and stuff. And we've learned from people in Canada and America and stuff. And, but there's a load of people in Ireland. A lot of people doing we have a few mentors here in Ireland doing stuff that we can't do, that we're learning off. You know, there's a really big kind of shift in movement and mobility, but movement kind of, and this idea of a different kind of approach. I suppose we were the kind of the first big people to try and change maybe something kind of, you know. I think personally, not that we've changed anything, you know, but just a different kind of mindset in terms of the gym and movement. But there's a lot more smarter people than me in Ireland doing really cool stuff. Like,
but it's so. I suppose the goal is not to, you know, for you, like you were saying, is to impact as many people with movement as possible.
100%.
And it's not necessarily to get them to think that, okay, movement is the way, but it's get them to think that there's different ways for your body to move, and there's different ways. Like I actually truly believe everything that you're saying. Like I don't coach one client the same as I do another. Like if this person can't do that movement, or if this person is battling, it's funny that you mentioned different aspects of it. Battling like a certain, whether it's a confidence issue or whether it's a thing, like I'll be unique to that person, and I'll say, okay, the hardest thing for them to do is actually get to the, so it's okay if I actually take this slow, because for what you might find or what I might find to be difficult, they're actually finding the same.
Yeah, but even you know yourself, when someone comes in, the first client has never trained before, and you put them on their barbell squat, they're terrible.
Yeah.
But in 2 or 3 weeks, they're better. It's not because you've coached them better. Their nervous system has got used to the movement. So if someone doesn't move as well, or they have something going on, they have an old injury, or they have a lack of confidence, or mentally not feeling 100%, that's going to affect how they move. So that's going to completely alter your program and then what you're going to do with that person. That's our issue with just going to, this is the answer, everyone should go and do this, everyone should go and do this, because there's not just one answer. First of all, you go to what you like to do. That's the first thing. And then secondly, like, if what you like to do, can you do that well? Can you physically move well to be able to do that at a really high intensity, a really high level for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, because you love it, you know? And also this idea of like, you should, I originally started training in the gym because of, I was skinny, I want to get bigger, you know, like, so I probably lacking a bit of confidence. Let's get a bit bigger and feel better. And then I realized after building muscle and feeling confident, this is great, but I was like, well, where do I go now? Like, what do you do? Just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I just see a lot of people mindlessly doing something that I don't really think they enjoy doing, you know? And then I just dealt with so many people over the last 2.5 years who are in pain, I believe, needlessly. Again, it's not always a movement issue, but it is definitely most 100% an awareness and educational issue that once they have that awareness and that educational, it can literally change their lives. Because again, I do stuff that you're saying you could never do. I never thought I could physically do that. I never ever thought I could do that.
It's not until you do it the first time that your brain starts working with you, as opposed
to see what I can do, and I was like, that's amazing. And I'm like, it's really not amazing. It's just like, if you knew what I knew and if you did what I did, you could easily do it. You know, and that's, so I'm trying to educate people on that, you know, because and it is that idea of using movement as a catalyst to change your life, because it's changed my life. It's completely changed my life, and that's why I have a passion for it, and why I maybe talk that way to clients or something, because I really believe in it, you know. That was something that always stood out, like always stood out. That's like, cool. Thanks very much.
And I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you much, sir.
I think we'll wrap things up there. Nice. Yeah, I don't like to keep them too.
Let's go going.
Just short and sweet, and hopefully.
Well, that was pretty quick, like
50 minutes.
Deadly.
Hopefully, we'll have you on again, and we'll do another one in a while, and you'll be even further on with movement. But no, like, man, looking at like the progress that you've made, even gives, like, I think it gives everyone inspiration, and I think that's just because, like, I remember there was a period of time where, I'd kind of, left FBT. And all of a sudden I just started seeing you everywhere. Do you know what I mean? I just started seeing movement everywhere. And then I started seeing like a lot of stuff going on. And then I started going, Jesus, fair play. And it's just, I think what I'm trying to say is that like hard work pays off. And I know as cheesy as that
sounds.
But
also with that as well, is like my progression has been good and our progression has been good and it looks amazing. Like there's been a lot of like sticky points and tough work as well in there. Like it hasn't all been plain sailing, you know? And that's what I suppose I'd like to get across to people as well, is that as good as we're doing, and I love my life and it's brilliant, and we're gonna I'll keep going and all. It's just like it's tough work, and you're gonna have some losses, and it's gonna be tough. You're gonna make mistakes, and you'll get better. Like but that's life, you know. I genuinely am doing something with my life that I love to do, and I would encourage people to try and first of all ask yourself what you want to do, and then go and look and try to be the best at doing that, because it'll really make you feel fulfilled.
And I don't think we can end on a better note than that.
Deadly,
no, cheers, Brian.
Pleasure, man.
Cheers, thank you,
sir.